It's often said that you can never go home again, but it's really interesting to take a visit to weird. It's where I used to ride my bicycle up and down.
The son of a man who worked his fingers to the bone, just trying to make something out of nothing, you know.
That's the house right there.
Oh, wow.
That we bought, and that's where we lived when I went to high school. Right there. And kind of neat. We had done a lot of work, and we had rebuilt the front porch on it, and that back deck that's on there we built, but we didn't have it all. I see they built all that fence and everything around it, and we didn't have anything like that. A little garage in the back that the doors never worked, so we couldn't get in, but I see they built a whole new garage there and everything. Really cool. I used to, that little porch there, that little side porch out the back,
Yeah.
I could jump up between, climb up, stand on the railing and get on the garage roof, and then from the garage roof I could jump onto the house roof, and I could go all the way up on the top of the house roof, and I could just sit up there and do stuff. And then one time we had to fix some caulking work, and so I told my dad, well, I can get up there. So I went all the way up, and on that top peak I sat there and with my legs straddled right there, leaned over the peak with a caulk gun and caulked the gap that's right there.
You were handy.
Yeah, well, so my dad was there on a ladder. He couldn't reach it, so he was right there below me. And he says, "This is really making me nervous." I said, "I'm not going anywhere."
Did your mom know about this?
I don't know. I don't know if she knew about that at all. But what's funny is then, so my dad says, "Making me nervous." And now I think about doing that and everything. My palms are kind of sweaty.
Just thinking
about that. So we'll go look at some other stuff.
I wanna see the world from the edge of my seat, through a big windshield or a plane, not a TV screen.
This magnificent structure behind us, that's Tibbetts Opera House, which in Coldwater, Michigan, this little town of just under 10,000 people, has a phenomenal theater program and one of the acoustically best theaters that I've ever been to. And in fact, here's a little secret for you. One of the first jobs I ever had was right here at Tibbetts Opera House. I started out as an usher when I was about 14 years old or 13 years old here, and then started doing spotlight work. I would run the spotlight for some of the summer stock professional theater productions that they had, and then did light board, and it was a great time. And we've seen some plays here too. As we were driving around, saw something. I had Michelle film it, and I want you guys to see it too. And what this building is, right here we're driving by, you see, is the place where Michelle and I met. And at that point, we were all smiling because it's a good story. That was Gillespie Funeral Home, and a friend of mine, Keith, was actually the mortician there at the time. My father died fairly young. He died at 65 years old, and we're all living here in Coldwater at the time. And ironically, my parents and Michelle's parents were friends. My parents owned a fabric store that had sewing machines here in Coldwater, and Michelle's parents in Port Huron had a sewing machine store, and they sold the same brand of sewing machines. And Anyway, they had known each other. They had met at conventions and known each other. In fact, you knew my mom and dad, didn't you?
Yeah, I knew his mom and dad. I didn't know him.
Yeah. And so when my father died, they made the trek from Port Huron to Coldwater to come to one of the visitations. And it was there that Michelle and I met. And kind of the rest is history.
32 years ago. 33 years ago.
33 that we met. Oh my goodness.
33 years ago.
Wow, that's been some time. And but yeah, I just
Felt like forever. Just kidding.
It has. It was a kind of a really instant connection, and we knew within a couple months of dating that we were going to be married. But we're going to stop in at a place right now, a store, to see if an old acquaintance, if people here. We hadn't really planned to come to Coldwater, and we just happened to be kind of in the area, so this is a real memory lane thing. We're going to see if old acquaintance of mine is here. He actually owns this jewelry store here, but he's old like me, so he might be retired. We'll see if Brad is in here. So let's go.
Whoa, baby, this is our time to reignite our American dream.
It's often said that you can never go home again, but it's really interesting to take a visit to a place you grew up in. And we're here in Coldwater, Michigan, which is a town I went to high school in, and I actually had a business here. I had a photography studio. Behind us is the Masonic Temple here in Coldwater, and it's very unique in that it actually has the Order of the Eastern Star, #1 oldest in the world. But right across from this Masonic Temple, right across the street, is where my photography studio was, and I had for a number of years. And I'll put some pictures up on the screen right now, and you can kind of see what that was like.
Jim Fisher Photography turns your memories into keepsakes. Special moments, special people, those special times in your life captured in Jim's unique style. Portraits that will last a lifetime from Jim Fisher Photography in Coldwater.
I'm going to want to show you what that corner looks like now, and it's kind of interesting. I think that's one of the things they might mean when they say that you can't go home again. Let me flip the camera around so you can see. Yeah, so right behind me on this corner is where my photography studio was. After I sold it, moved out, another gentleman had a photography studio there, and then there was some kind of unfortunate incident with the building behind where some people started a fire to burn somebody out of that building, and it spread. And well, let me show you what that looked like. Someone told me once, years later, that my old photography studio burned down, and it's like, how can that happen? It was brick. But it obviously did, and is gone, and is now outdoor dining for this Italian restaurant. One of the places that was right down the road from our house I used to ride my bike to is this beautiful building right behind us, which is
The library.
the library. And Michelle is really ecstatic about that because, I don't know if you know, she worked at the library. in
20 years. I
So-
always like to see libraries when we go to any town. Got to see what it's like.
So we are actually going to go in and see how much it's been added on to a whole bunch since I was in this area. And so I know it's just totally different than it used to be, but come on, let's go inside.
Begging, please, come with me. Begging, please, come with me. 'Cause there's no one else like you. 'Cause there's no one else like you. Said there's no one else like you. And there's no one else like you. In a long lost dream is where I'll find you.
What'd you think of the library, Michelle?
It It's really neat. The building is very interesting because it's an old building and then they've added on to it. And so it's very broken up in sections. But it's nice because then they have like the adult section on one floor and they have a teen section on a lower floor. And there were some kids in there on the computer, and it's a really neat space. And then very modern looking. And then they have the children's section and of course elevators to get to all of the sections. So it was really neat. They had some neat murals, and of course some of the architecture is really just beautiful, and then see what they did with it on the inside.
Yes, yeah, and it's really nice because they kept the kind of, when they put the additions on, they really kept with the architectural integrity of the building, which was nice. We filmed us going into the library and a couple little shots inside, but libraries are just one of those places that we really like to respect people's privacy. People bring their children there, and while it is a public space, it's still kind of a private-y space. So I made sure to not get any people in any of the shots, and just a couple things, kind of give you a flavor of that.
I'm a product of my granddad's son. Hard-working hands and a job well done.
So we mentioned that our parents owned similar businesses, and my parents had a fabric store. Well, that's where this empty space was right here. There was a building that was right there that's since been torn down for more parking for this, like CVS Drugs, which used to be the A&P grocery store. But it was there, and you were at the store once or twice. weren't you?
Several times.
Several times. And it's just kind of interesting that Michelle and I never met before that. One thing we didn't mention about us getting married is right after my father died, my mom asked me if there was anything of his that I wanted, as a memento or as a memory of him. And well, my dad, his skin was really alkaline, and he worked in some weld shops and things, so he never wore jewelry. And so he never wore his wedding band. So I asked my mom, I said, one thing I'd like, it's just in his box there, is I would like Dad's wedding band. I'll keep it. Who knows? Maybe someday I'll meet someone. And sure enough, we met 1 or 2 days later, and we were married with my dad's wedding band right there. And so it's pretty emotional, pretty special. But we're getting ready. We got to go and meet old friends for dinner. We ran into some old friends of mine here, and we're actually going to surprise them for a dinner.
Skin as thick as railroad ties, and you could see kindness in his eyes. I didn't want to do what he did, but I always wanted to be just like him. Strong enough to stay and fight, man enough to do what's right. His blood is in my own, the good and the bad in between.
While we were eating dinner with friends, old friends, there at the restaurant, they got talking about this right here. And this is the old train depot here in Coldwater. And I guess the train cars, I thought that they were just decorative, but they have a steam engine that comes and runs between Coldwater and Quincy. And where they got the little, what's their train called? Well, neither of us can remember, but I'll put it up on the bottom of the screen right here.
But it runs every weekend. And then they do specialty things like at Halloween, they have a special Halloween train ride, and probably something at Christmas. So yeah. But it runs every weekend.
Yeah, they could do like a Christmas Polar Express. Who knows what all they do? But we'll put a link to all that information in the description on the video below.
Is in my own, the good and the bad and in between.
It's one of those things they say you can never go home again, or I don't know. I don't want to quite say that. After I sold it, moved out. Now, a lot of you that watch this, I'm sure, haven't been to Coldwater, Michigan, and Coldwater is an enormous town of, what, 9,000? Let's call it 10,000 people. here. So it's a small town.
Do it again. That was off.
All right, we'll do it again.
And then you can use some of each.
This is my smoke. This magnificent structure behind us is Tibbetts Opera House, named for Barton Tibbetts, and he was one of Port Huron's first, or Port Huron. Wow. So right while we're eating dinner with friends at the, what was it, the Whistle Stop?
No.
Oh, train wreck. Yeah.
Is that what it is?
What'd you think of the library, Michelle?
It's really neat. They have to use the space that they have, obviously, for. Let me start again. Oh wait, let me.
Drive by that and just kind of drive down memory lane, I guess. Thanks for putting up with this, Michelle. And all you too, as well, putting up with this.
Thanks for coming along with us.